Alrighty, legends. Well, to start things off, we have a couple of people asking about the MDX Algo Indicators in MDX Crypto's private Discord group there. So I just want to do a quick run through of some of the customizations and features. If anyone has any questions about the indicators, I'll do my best to answer them as always. After that, I will get into some Bitcoin analysis as always, and of course, we can take some altcoin requests. You guys can show some altcoins or whatever you guys want to talk about, any of that. That's super cool. Other than that, yeah, welcome. I'm glad you guys were able to come hang out and talk crypto once again. And yeah, to start off, just taking a look at this indicator. This will be probably familiar to you guys, but this, since I'm recording this for other people as well, I'm going to look at this first. If you're having any visual issues or anything like that with the indicators, make sure you change the visual order to bring to front. That'll help clean up the chart. I've heard of people having issues, and that will often be the fix. So that's something that you got to do right off the bat. Other than that, there's just a whole bunch of customization that you can do with this indicator. And to get into those, you can either right click or double click on any of these signals. And you can see that there's just a whole list of things that we can do here. First of all, if you're using regular candles like me, make sure you uncheck the Heikin-Ashi calculation box here. It does change things slightly. If I pretend I'm using the Heikin-Ashi candles, those signals will change. I don't know why, it's just how it's calculated. And then here, obviously, if you don't want too many signals, you're going to be a little picky. You want to clean up some of the noise. Being this is a macro chart here on the daily chart, I have it set to swing. If you add it to scalp, it's obviously going to pick up a whole bunch more signals. But like I said, it's macro, so we'll stick on swing. Next thing I will add here, I'm just going to add things one at a time so you guys can see what everything does here. If I add trend, this is the moving average that kind of follows the price. And it's just basically a moving average. It comes on average, but if you prefer EMAs, SMAs, you prefer to watch volume, whatever kind of works for you, what kind of moving averages you follow, then by all means you can play around with that. I just leave it on average because that's what it came as. My personal favorite part of this indicator would be the colors, just because I'm a simple person and I love colors. But yeah, you can see that we can make this chart look a whole bunch of different ways. I just love these colors, especially with the black backdrop there. It just looks absolutely beautiful in my opinion. But yeah, whole slew of different colors, so feel free to play around with that. Signals is obviously the short and long signals here. The Stotch RSI divergences, I've noticed these playing out fairly well recently. They've been calling some fairly nice moves on a lot of different time frames. That's these blue dots. If they're above the price, it's a bearish divergence. Below the price, that's support, so bullish divergence. Next, we can add some orange dots here. It'll kind of tell us when the trend is oversold or overbought. And you can add in trailing. I believe this would be some kind of a stop loss if you were to enter a position. Yes, like if you took this short, we'd be getting kind of close to your stop loss there. Obviously, it's a daily chart. That's quite a big move. But yeah, you can basically pick a stop loss with this indicator if it works for you. As always, I would kind of back test if you're looking at trading anything, any kind of indicator, anything like that. Always remember it is just an indicator, so it should match up. It's used more as confluence for your original analysis. Just use it as confirmation. Don't just blindly take every signal. If you see it, telling you to short into support, just be a little cautious. Same with if it's saying to long into resistance, be a little cautious. Of course, those signals are going to come up and give you FOMO a lot. But you know what? One of the most important things in trading is patience. And I know none of us want to hear that, but it's true. So you just have to really wait for things to line up for whatever you have back tested, what works for you kind of a thing. Next, we have these indicator tops and bottoms, which are a type of a divergence as well. I'm just going to remove these other ones just to clean things up a little bit. But that would be these red and green signals here, often indicating that, things are trying to reverse. So those are a very powerful signal as well. Something really interesting with this indicator is the support resistance here. So if you're not comfortable drawing lines, let's say you don't really understand resist support flipping areas and that kind of thing, this indicator will actually map out horizontal resistance and support for you. It's just a calculated thing where it just kind of picks where, you know what, things are actually kind of drawn towards that area, and where it thinks that the market may have some kind of a reaction at that level. I notice quite often the price ends up being drawn to these levels after crossing them as kind of a retest. So that's interesting. I personally like doing my own analysis. I have my own back-tested patterns and that kind of thing that I personally use. So I don't do this, but let's say you're new, you just want a helping hand, or let's say I go through a losing streak and I just want a second opinion. I want to kind of rethink things. Maybe I'm not looking at things right. I've taken holidays, anything like that. It doesn't hurt to just kind of, you know, at least check it out, see what the indicator is saying. I just think that's a very cool option in my opinion anyways. And yeah, so other than that, that was the Algo 3 MDX indicator. Up here we have the oscillator 4. Down here we have the oscillator 5, and then I have RSI because I quite often just look at the RSI. But basically the same thing. You have the same kind of signals. Some things that are a little different. The oscillator 4 here, this H would actually mean a hidden divergence, and being it's red, that's a hidden bearish divergence here. Here we have a regular bullish divergence. So that's the R, that's for regular. Actually quite a nice little support looking deal here on the oscillator 5. The oscillator, or sorry, that's the oscillator 4. Oscillator 5 down here, like I said, same thing, just kind of points out a bunch of divergences and that kind of thing. And that has just been screaming bullish divergences at me as we trade along this support level. And guys, something to consider is I've actually had this support box mapped out ever since back here. I remember because my birthday was June 22nd here, and I was thinking, oh, that'd be neat if Bitcoin bottomed out for my birthday. And so it's just interesting. I've had this support box mapped out for such a long time, and we're seeing so many bullish divergences at this area. I mean, this line, these green lines on the oscillator 5, those are bullish divergences. So we got another one here. We're seeing these divergences down here. So just a lot of greens starting to show up at a level of interest for me as being support for a whole bunch of reasons. I've been very vocal about that on many different time frames and charts and that kind of thing, which I'm not going to go into quite yet. And same with the RSI has a beautiful bullish divergence here. So just all these indicators really screaming bullish divergences. This indicator, you know what, actually here, I know there's a short signal here, but we have got back above the trend, the moving average trend of the short. So I'm assuming it's only going to be a matter of time until we see another long signal. It might take a little ways to play out here. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to cover on the indicators. Was just again, same thing. You can go to make sure your visual order is bring to front. You can go into the settings and play with a whole bunch of different things. I'm not going to waste your time and go into absolutely everything because it's very similar to the Algo 3. But you can just kind of start checking and unchecking things, just see what it's doing on the indicator, and just go from there. But yeah, basically to use these indicators, you want to see, just like any analysis, you just kind of want to see the more confluence, the better. You want indicators to be lining up with your analysis. So the fact that right now, just getting into my Bitcoin analysis here, we're, like I said, so many bullish divergences lining up with my technical analysis, just my horizontal level. That's just where I have personally been favoring the bullish side of things here. And you know what, anything can happen. We can absolutely dump through this box and my analysis goes straight out the window. If that happens and we flip this into resistance, then I think, you know what, bear market continuation coming on here. But as it stands right now, we are technically trading at support. And with these indicators lining up, that's just kind of one of those situations. As I mentioned, I want to see a bunch of confluence lining up with my own stuff, and that's where I am giving this indicator quite a bit of credit here. Same with if I hop over here. This is actually the weekly chart on the logarithmic, just so I can fit more. This is where I was saying I was seeing a whole bunch of these blue dots playing out with these bullish divergences. over the past, well, several years. I mean, we're going back to our previous bear market bottom over here where it called that reversal. And up here, you know what? We got this blue dot right here just warning that the market might be in for, taking a turn for the worse. And Bitcoin got cut in half there. And you know what? Then we got a bullish one right after and we doubled in price there. So even these small ones like this one here, that still was approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 30 or 40% pump somewhere in there. So these signals aren't to be taken too lightly. As well with that, I mean, again, just going to these signals here, that bottom divergence indicator, or signal rather, showing up at that level as well, just lining up. And the last time we got these signals, you guys, Bitcoin was trading around 150 to 200 US dollars. We didn't even get one of those in our last start of our bull market. So I don't want to take these signals too lightly, because I think however they're calculated there, they must be pretty picky about, the state of the market, just how oversold we must be for this to be coming into play. Because when we dropped from 20,000 to 3,000, we never did get that signal. So to see it coming up at these levels with all these other bullish divergences, the RSIs, came from oversold into a bullish divergence. So I'm liking what these indicators are telling me right now. As well, it looks like I didn't even notice this before, but we also got a regular bullish divergence on the oscillator 4. So yeah, I'm liking that all the indicators are kind of lining up right now, just really behaving the way that I would expect them to, I suppose. I would be a little more concerned if we were, let's say we're trading at support right now and we start getting short signals. I don't know if I would trust it as much, but all these bullish factors coming in at a level of support, I think is a good sign that the indicators are kind of on the right path. Most of you guys watching this video are probably aware I have talked about why I think the bottom is in for Bitcoin with my Bitcoin cheat sheet. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my YouTube channel and go back and find my Bitcoin cheat sheet video right here. A lot of good information on that. I might touch on it in this video again. I just don't want to waste your time too much for those of you who have already sat through that more than once. But yeah, things aren't looking so bad in my opinion. Really zooming in here, I mean, this is a 5-minute chart. We got a little bounce off the 618 here of our little micro swing. We did break this structure down here, so you know what, at this point we might be more so looking at starting a downtrend. We're gonna have to see. I'm personally not interested in playing the downside right now. I've been pretty vocal about that. You know what, yes, there can be good shorts, but just since I am leaning so bullish, even if I tried to short right now, I would probably do something stupid because I wouldn't control my own emotions because I'm too bullish right now. So I just find that I'm playing the long side a little better right now. So you know what? I have some friends who only short. They play the exact opposite of me. They don't play longs well. They play shorts better. I'm just the opposite. So it's totally a personal preference thing, you guys. Another thing I want to point out, because I have seen the DXY talked about quite a bit. This chart goes back 20 years. This is a lot of data here. These are monthly candles. This is an absolutely massive range, you guys. And for those of you in the group, you know I've been pointing out the 786 and 886 Fibonacci's quite religiously lately and how well they're being respected. And the fact that this monthly candle got so close to my 886, which we usually end up wicking to on a first attempt at a rally, on Bitcoin, on stocks, it's just one of those levels that I see respected quite often, where you're not going to get just, at first run up at this resistance, you're just going to blast through. That's usually not the case. Usually there's a lot more coiling up. So that's often a reversal point. And the fact that we got that bit of a rejection there at the top of this massive channel, even this channel, you guys, goes back to 09. So this is over 10 years of data just in this channel alone. So in my opinion, there's a lot of confluence right here. So I'm very interested to see what the DXY does. I mean, Bitcoin, let's face it, the DXY has been absolutely parabolic, and we all know that as the DXY does good, Bitcoin generally struggles. But the fact that Bitcoin's just been trading sideways as the DXY is parabolic, What happens if the DXY gets a rejection now? I mean, if Bitcoin's technically keeping up to it lately and the DXY loses its strength, it loses its edge over Bitcoin and over crypto as a whole. I mean, that's just recipe for all these bullish divergences to come into play right at this support level. Um, Again, just going back to why I think this is such a strong area of support, that would be just a perfect. I mean, as far as technical analysis theories go, seeing resistance flip into support is what you want to see, and seeing it on such a macro scale like this from our previous market cycle all-time high. I mean, if we do end up, and I got to be clear on this, guys, just because I think the bottom is in, and I could be wrong as soon as we drop this box, obviously I'm wrong and everything changes with my trading strategy. But I'm not saying we're just going to absolutely blast off, boom, parabolic into our new bull market kind of thing. But I think that even if the bottom's in, there's obviously a good chance we just chop around while, smart money tries to accumulate and just kind of squeeze everyone else out of their positions and their beliefs in it. And just kind of waiting until everyone gives up before we start getting that next rally. So, yeah, I don't know. I see reasons why we could dump further. I've mentioned before that, you know what, if we drop to our next Fibonacci level, because right now we're at our 786, we could drop to that 886 as I've been talking about just very recently here. That would drop us down close to 10K. As well, we do have a bunch of structure here. I mean, we obviously respected this level as resistance quite a bit as well in the market. And that is also where we ended up blasting off. I mean, when we started our parabola, that is the level that we kind of found support at. So I do see reason why we could drop there. And on top of that, usually bear markets, we end up losing 85% approximately in value. Just the fact is that right now we've only lost about 75. So I do see reason why we could go further. That 85 would line up right with that area as well. I know going, that's something people don't consider. That drop from 75% to an 85% drop isn't another 10% drop. That's another 50% drop. So definitely see reason for that. But you know what? If we end up dropping that level, I'm going to be spot buying all the way down because I don't think it's going to last forever. Bitcoin loves to, have these extremely volatile market cycles. So I don't expect anything different from this one here. Before I carry on, do you guys have anything to touch on? Do you have any questions about the indicators? If so, I'll try and answer them. If not, you just give me your opinion about Bitcoin. I know everyone obviously has different opinions, and I just love to hear what other people are thinking. Because right now, like the fact that we broke this downtrend line that we're all kind of watching this trend line, right? I mean, it goes back to our market cycle all-time high. I'm seeing, this could be drawn a few different ways. Obviously, there's a little bit of wiggle room because on a weekly chart, or a daily chart rather even, there's obviously a little room for error there. But the way I have the chart drawn, it kind of looks like we're even trying to respect that retest. So I personally think things look good. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' theories on the market here. No theories?
I can talk.
Oh, there you go.
You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to hear your theories here. And you can share your screen if you want. You don't have to. You can just talk or whatever.
No, I can talk. Yeah. I'm in that camp of people. Like, I generally just short most things. And 70% of my, you can still hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear
sorry.
me?
I muted myself. Yeah, I can hear you.
So I'm someone that generally I'm more comfortable shorting in a bear market than longing. Like 80% of my positions are short. I play false breaks. But the thing is, even myself, I tend to look at things objectively, and I tend to, I'm in the camp where I believe that Bitcoin could run up to 28K, but I do believe ultimately Bitcoin will hit 9 to 12, 14K eventually. There's a huge gap in the weekly chart. and it's just a lot of confluence. And what a bottom looks like is when there's no demand, when everybody is just completely out in the streets and no one wants to buy. But nowadays, you see a lot of people. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, you're still good.
Yep. Like nowadays, like there's a lot of people saying buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, and as I mentioned before, and it's just there has to be a path of most pain, and it would make sense. Me, as much as I love shorting, it just makes sense for there to be a run up. Everybody is so short, and it's just ridiculous. And everyone's even like retail people who are just been in crypto after 2020 are focused on shorting, and it's just all the confluences right now. I don't use the MDX Algo Indicators that much. I generally have my own analysis, but I use it as confluence. It's just nice to see like a lot of even like Bitcoin has returned to key demand zone. Been quite a few number of now higher like highs and higher lows for Bitcoin in the 4 hour time frame. And there's been a broke like and many altcoins, some of them are starting to break structure. They've all returned to key demand zones, and they're just literally at a springboard waiting to pop up. And it's just I look at things objectively, and I want to believe that Bitcoin's going to achieve my target of 9 to 14K eventually. But right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen right now. It can just go sideways, and eventually, when everyone is just optimistic, that's when it just crashes. So
Yeah,
yeah, the route be a tumultuous one, really. The route we cannot be rigid about. And right now, as if I'm going to be, I think I love shorting, and someone who loves shorting, I'm pretty bullish right now. The chart looks quite bullish, but at the same time, I'm not going all in. I'm just trades here and then, one, two, because we have to accept when we're wrong. And so, I've I don't trade altcoins. I'm mostly Bitcoin, but this is a scenario that I'm going to go on 3 or 4 altcoins because I've seen Zilliqa, for example. It went from two like it was massive parabolic last month when it returned to key demand zones. It's just you can kind of if you can kind of catch before Bitcoin runs up or something like this. If you can catch a few altcoin, even one or two, then you might get like a 60x. You just don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say really.
yeah, I know, absolutely. And I agree with you that, you know what, I totally see reason. I mean, you can see on my chart, I also have that $28,000 level outlined. I think it's a very clear resistance zone. So I get what you're saying that, you know what, we could absolutely see this and then just dump into the abyss. The only reason I don't see that happening is just because I remember this exact scenario in the previous bear market, I guess. You know, when where were we here? I guess right here when we had this infamous descending triangle. And, I remember being one of the people who got wrecked right here because I thought, you know what, this is such an obvious short. I mean, this is such a strong level of support that, you know what, when we get back to that level, we're just going to dump and, like, you know what, bear market on. Everyone back then, I remember when we were here, there's people calling for 1,800, 1,500, $800 Bitcoin again. But you know what, that's something we're going to have to watch for is how Bitcoin respects that 28,000 level. Like if it respects it the way we respected the bottom of this kind of support box. You can see that we never saw a harsh rejection, right? We just kind of started consolidating at it, getting ready to break through, and that's exactly what happened. Broke through, came back down, retested it, and just kind of off to the races. I mean, not fully, I guess. It wasn't a new bull market because we got rejected at the 618 fib. Quite beautifully, really. But yeah, I think I just feel like everything just reminds me of when we were trading down here. Just the sentiment on social media and stuff. I don't know. To me, it feels the same. And I guess everyone has different experiences based on, what you're looking at, who you're talking to, all that kind of stuff on social media. One thing that I've noticed is, like you said, that, a lot of people are still bullish and stuff like that. And I do agree, there is still a lot of people bullish. But I'm seeing a lot more engagement on bearish posts lately. And it's been like that basically since we got down here, on my feed anyways, right? Like all our feeds could be very different. But on mine, I'm seeing that even people who have very large accounts who are posting bullishly right now are getting less interactions, less likes, less retweets, less comments than people on my feed who are posting bearish stuff who actually have smaller accounts. So the way I'm seeing that is, you know what, a lot of people really want things to be bearish right now. I think a lot of people are waiting, like, you know what, you said right now you're bullish but you're not all in, and I agree, and that's how I am too, because if we go down I want to be able to buy some, right? But a lot of people aren't even willing, and I have a friend who I've been trying to convince for quite a while now who will not even buy back half of what he sold for much higher. I was like, man, just like start just dollar costing in a little bit at these levels even. He's like, no, not till 14, like won't even hear of it. And that's the kind of thing where I think, you know what, there's a lot of people who are way too sure that we have to go down that I don't think we're necessarily going to. And I think the people who are even expecting a pump before the dump, I mean, in my opinion, I think max pain is going to be if we just blast through this and people don't fill their bags at all. There's going to be so many people that are still sitting on the sidelines waiting for prices down here that if this train really took off up to here, oh, would these people be upset. And on top of that, as soon as I think, anyways, personally, that we're going to get that harsh rejection around 50K or something like that, I think it's more likely that, and I mean, this would obviously take some time to play out, but I think the harsh rejection we see is going to be more around this level. Maybe even up higher, depending, because we're respecting higher fibs lately. But I mean, the last two bear markets did end up rallying up to this point, and then everyone FOMO'd and everyone got wrecked. And I could see that same thing happening again, where, you know what, we just blast off from here. All these people are super upset. They finally give up and buy back in right around here, and we end up pulling right back down to this box. I think we will, even if we bust up towards 50K, I think there's an excellent chance we pull back towards 28,000 US dollars. And I mean, I'm open to both ideas. Like if it goes down, I'm with you that, you know what, I'm just not all in yet, so I wouldn't mind buying more if we do drop. But I see a lot of people not even willing to buy a little bit yet, and that concerns me for those people.
Can I show something on my screen? Just to try.
Yeah, I don't remember how we did that last time. Can you just do it and override mine?
Uh, Share my screen. Yeah, let me share my. Can you see my screen?
Um,
Can you see it?
yes.
What can you see?
Just 1 second. I want to find. Where's the old full screen? Here we go. Okay. What do I see here?
Can you see?
BTC, perpetual, the weekly. I see your blue dotted line
Yeah,
there. Probably a flagpole, if I'm not get mistaken. Or no, that's your
yeah,
downtrend line. Okay.
yeah. One more. Okay, so you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's 2 seconds. I'm just gonna get. Sorry, 2 seconds. Uh, Sorry, it was a bit low where I am. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
So I know this chart's quite messy, but this is my theory. So this is a weekly chart. It's really messy, but I've drawn like key. So I've been around since 2017 as well. So I've drawn some key areas of demand, right?
Yeah,
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 back in 2020. So the way I see it going is that I think there's a point in which people will be in certain. There's a point in which people will be in just doubt, right? There's a point where Bitcoin has to run up, which is the point where people think, okay, if I don't get in now, it can go up further up, or it can go back down. So I believe, first of all, for the bull market to be resumed, we have to. Can everyone see this area that I'm circling here?
yeah.
Yeah. I honestly believe for the bull market to resume, there has to be a clean break of this level, 32K. I've highlighted this because this is like a key area of supply that has to break for big break for like a So I'll put it on the daily chart. But this area here is, I honestly believe that 32K has to break and has to go
Oh,
something like this
I
for the
don't think.
actual bull market.
I feel like
Can you
my
hear me?
screen isn't refreshing or something. I'm not sure if other people can see it or not.
Yeah, same with me. It's not refreshed now. It just stopped. Yeah,
Really? Should I share it again?
yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, here, maybe I can also stop mine. You can still hear me? Yeah, perfect.
I'll just do it again.
Yeah, it's all good. Watch stream. It's having a hard time loading. I got some squares doing a circle here.
Is it coming on yet?
No. Well, that's too bad.
Is it? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, yeah, I can still hear you. I just threw my screen back up. But you can definitely throw yours back on if you want to retry it or whatever. While you fight with that for a minute, just for those of you who don't know, I do have my own YouTube channel, StuTube Trading. Be sure to subscribe if you don't mind, if you like what I have to say and you like being part of these spaces and stuff. I will try and continue uploading all these streams that we do, as well as obviously my own videos, which are much shorter. They're more like 10 minutes rather than the hour-long streams here. And also Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, same thing, at StuTube Trading, all one word. And just something that I wanted to point out as well on my macro scale here is I just want to point out how all the bear market bottoms have looked so far. If I really bring this up here, I mean, here is my macro chart, my Bitcoin cheat sheet. Move over. This is our current chart, or actually this might be a week ago or whatever, but either way, this is our current market situation. This is our bear market bottom before this one, and this was the previous bear market before that. So, I mean, it's true that things look weak right now, but you know what? One thing all these charts have in common is they have this kind of, this, I don't know if you want to call that bear market support, where we're just trading sideways, consolidating on a very macro scale, but a very clear box of support, and then we dump and we start trading sideways. Previous bear market right there, you know what? We have a very clear horizontal support level. We drop, start trading sideways. The one before that, it's a little messier, but you still do have that horizontal bear market support level. Flipped it into resistance quite beautifully, actually. Took that last dump and then just started trading sideways. And basically all I'm getting at here is I totally agree that, you know what, the bear market could absolutely keep going. But one thing I want to touch on is that every bear market bottom does look like shit. You know, like none of those have looked good looking back. So that's just something that I want to touch on. And I just kind of pointed that out on Twitter. So once in a while I post some analysis. I don't always have time to make videos, so I'll just post random analysis on Twitter sometimes. Anyways, how you doing there? You get your... Do you want to try your screen again, or? Oh, I don't even hear you now if your mic might be off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm not sure, guys. Sorry, I'm not sure what happened.
All good.
I share again if you've got time, or did I delay it?
No, you can try. You know what? I honestly don't have a ton of other stuff to talk about unless you guys want me to do altcoin requests or anything like that. But no, feel free to share your stuff. I'm all yours.
Can everyone else see this? My screen. Can you see my screen?
I don't.
Can you see my screen?
I still
No,
just
we
see
just-
mine.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, here we go. Let's try this.
Can you see it? No.
I can. I can
Yep.
see it.
Yep. Yay.
Okay, so I'm in the camp where everyone can hear as well, right?
Yep. Sound good.
I'll start with a blank chart first of all to make things easy to the eye. So I'm at the camp for the bull market to return back. Bitcoin has to break 32K. Can everyone see this? Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Yeah. This is the in a macro scale. I'll put this indicator on, but this is basically showing supply. But this is the major area where Bitcoin has to break for actual progress to be there. We're just kind of dancing around here, but once this breaks, that's when bull market is back on. I think that's a general consensus.
100%. Yeah.
General consensus, because this reverses the macro picture. I'm in the camp. I'm actually in the same camp as MDX. Actually, I just saw his video and it kind of this actually matches mine. Can you see this chart now?
Yep.
So this chart is kind of like tidier, but my theory is we could go up to 28K, 26K, but my theory is eventually we do go back to 9 to 14K, but not necessarily. That can actually happen next year as well. It doesn't have to happen now. There's a huge gap in the weekly chart. Also, if you go in the weekly here, I've drawn some. So I've been in crypto since 2017, and there is like, I mean, I know 17.5K is a key. You can still hear me, right?
Yep.
17.5K. If you draw weekly Fibonacci, it is actually a key Fibonacci level on the weekly chart. I'm sure you've done that, Trader Stood.
Yep.
But it's like a key Fibonacci 782 on the weekly chart. But it's just I can't help ignore that there is a huge gap in the weekly, and there's certain demand zones that are not being hit. So this one. So I've actually fine-tuned it by going on the forum. But this is a demand zone. This is a demand zone. This is a demand zone. This key area. This is a demand zone as well. This is a demand zone. This is a demand zone. It's a huge gap. And my point is that once 17K breaks, all of this can be hit, but not necessarily all at once. And also, it was when it was 3K, the Fed actually injected stimulus, right? You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So the rationale is that if the Fed ideally has to reverse the actions of the stimulus, right? So if a reverse happens, you would think eventually it can lead to COVID levels. And second of all, do you remember Amazon stock?
Yes.
Before it ran up?
Yeah.
Before it ran up, crypto has become a lot like that. Before it ran up, there was, there's a lot of hype and everything. There's, and there's like the .com bubble. I do believe that we're in the .com bubble of crypto. I think it's there's a shit ton of coins that have to be killed in crypto and flushed out. And I think eventually when you get to the real use cases of the top 50, that's when, kind of like the .com, and that's when Amazon crashed and then went back up. Only the top 50 and all survived. So I think that has to eventually happen. There's a lot of garbage, I think, in the space.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. You know what? That is a very good point from a fundamentals point of view. I couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, a lot of coins have just failed miserably and been wiped out and stuff. But yeah, there's still I see what you're saying there. There's a lot of trash that could be kicked to the curb, that's for sure.
And also, it's just a case of, a lot of the progress has been because of the Fed pumping money. When that's reversed, eventually, 10 to 14K is definitely not out of the cards. Even MDX believes that as well. Eventually, it's tagged.
I can see what you're saying there. Something interesting is I am starting to see people on Twitter mention that certain places are starting to do stimmies again. And actually, I got a letter in the mail recently that said I'm going to get $500 in the mail. They're claiming it's because our province has been doing so well because we have a bunch of resources and stuff. Like we're rich in potash. So they're claiming, oh, you know what? Yeah, things are rising. So here's $500. Vote for us again, please. So it's interesting that we're actually starting to get that government money again, whether it's going to be, a long term thing or whatever. But I'm just starting to notice that the government is starting to pump out cash a little bit again to the people. So that is,
Last, yeah, last thing before I finish, there's a huge gap in the weekly chart. Like, I'm quite technical analysis, but this gap, I believe, eventually does get filled. It might not happen now, and I think the chart's bullish. Like, it could run up to 28K. I definitely think it's in the cards because all the MDX indicators, but also it's just there's been this downturn trend line's kind of been broken, but it's just a lot. We're really like oversold. I think at the daily chart.
yeah,
Yeah, that's everything.
I agree with you that, you know what, either way, I think we're due for a pump. And then we
Mm.
basically have to see how we react to that 28K area. If I can just, can I kick you out of this here for a sec?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
Um,
Um,
Let me just get mine going again here. Is mine back up for you guys? Is my stream back up for you guys? Can anyone hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Can you see my screen still?
It's just little square boxes dancing. Now it's there. Yep, yep, got it.
Okay, perfect. Um, One thing that really caught my ear that you said there was that we have to break 32K before we carry on this bull market. And that's, again, like those areas that you were mentioning, the 28K and the 32K. I mean, that's basically exactly where my resistance box is there. So I could not agree more with you about that. I think it's a very important level in the market. This is our macro lower high. So I think this is actually where we need to break. If we ended up sweeping these lows, closing candles below this area, I would consider this our lower high. But as it stands right now, our lower high is around that 32K area. So yes, you're right. We do need to break that before this bull market can continue. And I just wanted to point that out on this chart as well. That's just a part of my cheat sheet is that, you know what? Every market cycle, that's exactly when Bitcoin went parabolic. Those support boxes I outlined, after we dropped them, had our accumulation, as soon as we reclaimed those boxes, that's totally where the bull market continued. Here we did have one more fake out back below that box. This was COVID. That's obviously a black swan event, and that's something that the markets haven't seen. Well, I don't know if we've ever seen the economy literally shut off before, but I'm going to give that a pass for a fake out of my analysis there. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, yeah, obviously we faked out down below it, but once we reclaimed it again, obviously that's when we went parabolic. And I think that's going to be the same thing here, as Kieran mentioned there. Once we break 32K, I think that's where we can start to say that, you know what, I think Bitcoin is actually in a very healthy position at that point. And I think that's where we're going to see kind of, within maybe months or whatever, from that point, that's when we would start to see parabola happening. I think even to get above it and come back down and retest it or something like that, I think would be very healthy. And I think once we reclaim this blue box being our prior bear market support there, I think that's where things are going to get very juicy to the upside for Bitcoin. But yes, you're absolutely right. Until we reclaim that area, I mean, it is still technically resistance. So absolutely, there's the possibility, no matter how bullish I am right now, the markets don't give a shit what I think or what I feel. So, I mean, it would be totally realistic to think we got some kind of a lower high rejection from that level and carrying on down from there. So I couldn't agree more with that being an important level in the markets.
Sorry, last thing. Can you hear me?
Yep.
See, the thing is, there are a lot of models like this, a lot of charts like this, the rainbow chart. But the thing is, when a lot of people look at things like this, eventually it gets invalidated. That's just my opinion. But it can stay. I mean, Bitcoin has shown historical habits of repeating itself. But very often models can get broken when a lot of people are looking at it.
Yes,
I think
because sorry.
I think we're at that phase in crypto, and a lot of people do know about it. We're entering the like kind of the late majority side of things. Like there's a lot of people. I think it's a lot of people know about crypto now. So I think crypto won't go as high as everyone thinks it will. My theory is that Bitcoin will only go to 120K because it'll always disappoint. I think. I think it's just important to kind of get better at trading. I think, but I don't necessarily think there's going to be a blow off top because too many people expect it. But it can still create life changing wealth, of course.
Yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming from there because yeah, once it becomes too easy to just spot like, hey, well yeah, just buy whenever it's 70% off or 80% off if that's all you have to do to get rich. I mean, a lot of people are going to take advantage of that, and eventually the market makers are going to say, no, we're going to change things up here. And you know what? They can make money on the short side as well. So, I mean, they can push it whatever direction they think is going to screw over the most people, right? Just something I wanted to point out here, since we were talking about Fibonacci's earlier. Look where we ended up finding support. Yeah, we wicked below it a little bit, but the candle body's there, bang on that 886 of just this very micro swing here. I mean, this is still a daily chart, so I shouldn't say totally micro, but just this trading range here, that's just another key level where it's not too shocking to see that we found support at that level. I'm happy that we found a little bit higher of a low here up at the 886 rather than, let's say, you know what, having a wick down to here, because let's just say theoretically I ended up having a candle wick down to this level here. The way I would then be looking for a fake out if I was to remain bullish, thinking maybe we're in some kind of a falling wedge, looking for a third touch point. I mean, my support level, just the way I like to draw diagonals, would then be dropping as well. So I would rather have an upward sloping trend line for now. Yeah, I don't know, just the way I like looking at it. You guys know that in the group chat, I've just loved pointing out the 886 and 786 Fibonacci's lately. So to see them respected even in this daily range we're in right now, I honestly didn't pull this up until right now. So it's nice to see it being respected so much. I know last night I even pointed out on the 1 minute chart there was basically the same pattern, and that's where it found support, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, you guys, we're coming up to about an hour here. Do you guys have any questions? Sorry, I've kind of been ignoring the chat box. Sorry, let me catch up here, guys. Oh, I'm way behind here. I have like 8 messages from you guys. If anyone else wants to take over and talk about anything or talk about altcoins, talk about whatever, feel free. Oh, most of the messages were just the word yes. That wasn't too long to catch up. Quick look at XRP. Hey, let me just pull up the old shitcoin chart here. Notice the DXY is in my shitcoin chart. XRP. Let's go to Bybit. Oh, it has not been on that trading pair for a long. Do we have a Bitstamp? Those are usually old. All right, this is going to be very freestyle here. I haven't looked at an XRP chart since probably since I owned it, which was I remember buying in just over $1, and I held it right up to like $3 or whatever, and you know what, I just wrote it right back down because why not.
I can talk about it. I've got targets if you.
Sure. I'm just going to pull a few very random trend lines, just looking for wick peaks basically on a very macro scale. Very macro. I mean, this dates back to 2017. That's a huge downtrend line. Just pulling something for this cycle. Oh, you know what? That's interesting. This is a daily chart, so that's a pretty big pattern. It's basically You know, breaking that same kind of pattern that I've been watching on Bitcoin, I mean, this is a fairly nice downtrend line and getting quite a nice looking respect out of it. Um, the oscillator 4 actually has a hidden bullish divergence. That's interesting as we just trade sideways as we retest this resistance as support. Oscillator 5 not really showing anything since back when it was trading flat, basically. RSI. RSI on the daily did get a little overbought, of course, in a. Well, I should be careful how I word that because we're definitely not in a bull market. That can just mean that there's a shit ton of buying pressure. But that being said, it's always obviously a warning sign that things might be a little bit overextended. I'm just gonna hop over to a 4 hour. I'll just kind of zoom in as we go here. Curious to check some Fibonacci levels actually from where our range bottomed so far to where we're at right now. Found support at the 0.5 fib, definitely not that bad to see. Flipped this little resistance here into support, I would say. That blue line there. You know, I'm not a huge XRP fan, but in my opinion, it doesn't actually look all that bad. Also, yeah, I should actually map out from here probably because this was kind of our lower high back here. We are technically getting back above that level, so that's interesting to see. Kieran, you were saying that you had some targets and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I've been following a lot of altcoin charts and I mark targets, and I just pulled the trigger on 4, but I can show you the chart if you've got time. If you're interested,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you have to offer here.
can you see my chart?
I'm
Yep.
still.
Yeah.
Here,
Yep, I can see it.
Let me click on yours here, full screen this. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're good. You're live.
So this chart is pretty bullish actually. I think you understand the concept of demand and supply and everything, right?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's just go back in time, right? So this was when, you know, everything should hit the fan and everything fell down. It came down here, yeah. Can you see the chart, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way
Yep.
I do it is I look at areas of red before it bounces up, so demand zones, and here it came down, bounced up, came down, bounced up, came down, right?
Yeah.
Then it came back up here, and then it formed a new level here. So these two boxes are key areas of bouncing, so really good areas to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you notice, it came back down here again. I was going to open a long here as well, but I longed other things, and then it just bounced up here, and you could have actually gone a 15-minute time frame. But the thing is that it's run up quite a bit, and obviously because of the news case, I'm just going to draw Fibonacci from bottom. Yeah. So the thing is that it's okay. So it's hit off the almost 618. It's kind of hit off. I'm going to go in the 15-minute time frame actually. So sorry. Let me just mark. I'm just telling you how Nick, shall I show you my strategy of entering? How I enter things like this?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I love different strategies and different point of views.
So-
Love it.
So the thing is, you don't always have to get in once it's pumped. You can kind of wait. So now you can wait for it to hit a Fibonacci, right?
Yeah.
Here it's kind of, you can see it clearly hit there. So what I would do is, so it's kind of a trace story. What I would do is I would draw a small box, kind of key Fibonacci like this. Yeah. Then I would kind of zoom into the 15-minute time frame. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's you're waiting for it to hit a key level, and can you see the way it's just wicked off this, Nick? Can you see the way it's nicked off this?
Yeah,
Nick?
absolutely.
Yeah.
The way the way it's wicked off shows it's a clear buying pressure. It didn't stay here very long, And when you zoom into a 50-minute time frame, this is the strategy just in general, and this is just an example. Oh, was my internet not working? Is it frozen? So the way I do it is, I look at the 50-minute time frame, and then as soon as the moving averages cross over and is bullish, just get a tight stop, any enter, and just put it down here really usually, and that way you can target a really high target as well, maybe like 1 to 10. And in terms of targets, Nick, looking at certain areas, I'm not getting buying XRP because I think I've missed the ship, to be honest.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like you said, it has definitely pumped pretty good. Like I'm not looking to long it at this point by any means, but as far as if you were already hodling some, for example, I think it's broken some interesting structure that might be interesting
Nick,
for XRP moving forward here.
Nick, you can still hear me, Nick, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Nick, the thing is, I would say this one we've missed the boat, but it's just the principle. In terms of, I believe XRP will go up higher. I think it can actually hit certain wicks here. So this is certain supply zone. So it could definitely hit 65 cents. It could definitely hit 78 cents. And it might even hit 95 cents. As Trader Stutter mentioned, it's actually broken out of its kind of weekly kind of macro bearish trend, really. So it's kind of more into accumulation. But I think the boat is missed. But the thing is, another example of how I kind of my kind of strategy again is, how can you get into the next XRP? Do you know what I mean, Nick?
God, that looks beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, it does. Zil is one that I was looking at yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, I mentioned Zil in the group chat a few bit, but the thing is, I'm always waiting. Patience. I'm looking at the habits. So this was a ferocious move. Most people only hear about a pump like this. Am I correct, Nick?
Yeah.
Nick, most people, when it runs up like this, most people hear about it then. But you still haven't lost out, because you just have to buy it back a little, because you know, by going up here, you've broken so much structure here. Do you not agree, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah? By going up like that, you've taken up so many highs here. So what you could do is just wait for it to come back to key demand zone. How do you map out demand zones? Well, you can go back in time, basically. So March 2021. This is how I do it. Can you see the way, Nick, that those red here in 11th of December 2020 pumped up? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the thing is, you're just mapping it out, really. You're looking for big moves, right? It's just a rough area. And then you just wait till it reaches there. The same with, and it usually, so you got one bounce here. Do you know what I mean, Nick? Bounced here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bounce it.
You go all the way back then.
Yeah. My point is, Nick, this is not an accident. This is not an accident. It happens all the time. Then what I do next is, there's absolutely no guarantee this is going to pump, Nick. Like there's no guarantee. Would you not agree, right? There's no guarantee it's going to pump. But the thing is, there's no guarantee. Absolutely not. But what I do is I go then down to 15-minute time. So the thing is, again, go to the 4-hour, right? Can you see this, Nick?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's taken out so many highs. So then what I would do is I would draw Fibonacci. Yeah. Can you see? Can you see that? Yeah.
Yep.
Then what I did was, sorry, shit. So Fibonacci. And then can you see Trader Stutter? You know, you Fibonacci's, right?
Yo, I love fibs.
Yeah.
We all do, yeah.
This is where candlestick patterns come into use, right? I don't care about the names. Like my altcoin bars are pumping now, but can you see there's a wick here, Nick? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fibonacci. Why isn't it a bit of a coincidence the wick is between the 618 and the 786?
Yeah.
Is that not a coincidence?
So often that happens, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then that shows that you can enter in the zone. Like when you see so my point is always zoom up to a higher time frame to see what it looks like, to get the macro bigger picture. Then zoom into the 15 minutes. See, okay, it's hit here. I'm going to wait till it goes back up. And once it goes back up, right? You can open potential long position here, type stop loss, and you might be even able to target as high as even. So I mean, my point is,
The risk reward is beautiful.
Yeah, it's enormous. Yeah.
my point is, if you get that tight stop loss, put it up here, like to the next kind of. And if you notice, it's been in a massive downtrend all the way along. I mean, and can you see, Nick, the way last time it came here, it pumped a shit ton up here? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're the exact same place. My point is, there's no guarantees, but like I would for me personally, I'd kick myself if I didn't go for at least one. You know what I mean? My point is, it might not
Yeah.
work. Another principle is don't just wait till here. Take profits up consistently, and this is the way how I do it. I don't just let things float. I'll show you what I mean, right? So can I draw a diagram? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me draw a diagram. Sorry, guys.
All good.
So price is moving like this, Nick. Yeah.
Mm.
It isn't. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, this is awful. Anyway.
I love
yeah,
this
so
stuff.
Nick, but see, Nick. So Nick, you've entered here, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
The price goes up here, right? You're not in profit yet, but then it goes back down here. Then it goes back up here. You're in profit now, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not in a difficult dilemma. You could hold it longer and go up much higher, but then you risk going it down. What I would personally do is move your stop up here. Yeah? Yeah?
Mm.
Then
Yep.
then what happens is it goes up here. It goes all the way up here, right? Then move the stop up here. So each time there's a higher 4-hour low. You know, but this is in the 4-hour time frame, not in the one. If you move it up in the 1-hour time frame, the problem is you get whipped out by false move. So each time there's a 4 higher low, you can keep moving up and up and up and up. But you should also use key levels as profit levels as well. Yeah. And
Yeah.
another thing also, what I use is this. I use Trader Stutup's favorite tool.
Yeah.
And what I do is I do this, and I specifically target these extension levels. So minus not 272 and not 618. Do you know what I mean? So these two kind of
Yeah.
key fibs. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can kind of ladder it out. So, for example, you can draw one here, right? You can even, and then sell everything here. Then you can draw the next one here. Do you know what I mean? Rebuy again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then sell the next.
That's really
one.
interesting. What you were just saying about I often set stops on the way up instead of taking profit immediately. I move the stop loss up each time, but I'm doing it many times on an hourly time frame. And yeah, you're right. I get stopped out all the time. So if I switch that to 4-hourly, it's a much better ploy. You think, yeah?
But it depends, Nick. So like this is the art, right? So like me personally, at least you know the concept of risk reward, right? So the thing is that like
Yeah.
my mentor, what my mentor taught me. So I did a professional trading diploma, and my mentor taught me is that only move the stop to break even when you're in profit of twice the value of your stop, at least. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? So do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for example,
That's interesting. Yeah.
So basically, that's what you mean. That's what's because the thing is that you took the risk initially, right? So if you took a risk initially, but then if you quickly go break in, you've kind of that means you weren't prepared to take the risk, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is that, for example, say you're risking $60 for sake of example, then if you're $120 in profit, you can move it to break even. I personally move it to break in sometimes when I'm 3-1, but that way you kind of you don't want to move it too early, is what I think. But yeah. But
Yeah. Give it some leeway. Yeah.
But also, like you do want to use key levels as well. Like, I mean, you can see like this is a key level. This is rough, but the thing is, some people just wait. I would never wait for the key level. I would use key Fibonacci extensions on the way as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another thing you can do is you can use the wicks of bodies. So let me clean this. So see these the wicks of bodies. You know the wicks here.
Yep.
Yeah. These wicks act as supply stones, so you can take profit here as well. So one wick here. Me personally take profit here, here, here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because previously these were supply zones, so it was overvalued, so it sold off quickly. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
some people wait off here, but I'm definitely not. I'm going to be selling off here, here, here. So maybe 30% here, 10% here, 10% here, and then maybe let some run off. But I mean, it could happen, but you just don't know. Like, is this? Yeah. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. Thank you, man. Thanks. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of, I guess, one thing that the guy I learned from too is just like one thing that I noticed was like, oh man, he is quick to take profits and update stop losses and that kind of thing. Whereas before I was always looking for a home run trade, right? That's something very important with trading is just knowing to at least start taking profits, you know, at, let's say if you're in a long, obviously when you start hitting resistance levels, you're going to want to start taking profits. If for no other reason to cover your fees and that kind of thing. Because like, I mean, fees generally aren't that much, but that's something that I like to touch on sometimes, is that a lot of people will be like, oh, I have such a tight stop loss that I could lose 10 trades and just win one and I'd be fine. It's like, you know, people, well, and like, this is not to be mistaken for what you're talking about, like with your like 3-to-1, that's absolutely, like, you obviously know what you're talking about and you're very familiar with trading and stuff, but I know so many people who aren't as familiar with trading who make their stop losses at silly places that are not below a higher low, stuff like that, like not really looking at the proper structure. And those people will get stopped out 10 times and they think that they break even on the one winner trade, but they've eaten so many fees because they're just over trading so much trying to catch that position that that's something to watch out for as well. But obviously, like what Kieran was talking about, like I couldn't agree more with everything he was saying. That was absolutely beautifully explained. So well done on that for sure.
Nick, last thing. Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So it's funny. I'm not going to get the philosophy of a stop loss, but a stop loss is not what's the maximum amount can I lose. It's more kind of at what point do I accept that I'm wrong? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You know what I mean? So the thing is, you're placing the stop loss based on market structure. So you know if that stop loss gets triggered at that particular peak or low, you know the market is going to reverse, and that you can re-enter again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like by your stop loss getting triggered in a certain peak, the actual market direction has been invalidated, so you can always re-enter again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool.
You need to start a training course, Kieran.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's yeah, eventually, yeah. But yeah.
Cool, thank you, man.
All right. How's Palm Swap doing? Speaking of altcoin requests, did any of you guys did you guys get into the pre-sale of Palm Swap at all? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Didn't do it. I saw there was I nearly did it the night before the official real launch, and then I saw all these messages of everyone complaining. So and it had that extra 5 days, and I thought I'm not going to do it now because it seems to have this bad vibe. But I don't know. How's it doing?
Well, what was I want to say the pre-sale was like 0.015, or maybe it ended up, since it extended a little bit, it might have been 0.18 or something. So it's definitely up. I want to say it's up like, I don't know, 70% or something like that. The stake, I was impressed. I thought at first it only said like 14% or something like that. Today it's saying I am getting 122% APY, and when I did the math on how many accumulated tokens, like, yeah, after 5 days I have like more than 2% of the amount I staked already in coins. So the APY seems ridiculous right now. I don't know if that's just because it's so new. It is definitely dropping, because yesterday I was at like 100 and, I don't know, 36 or something, and today it's saying like 122. So whatever. I'm just gonna see what happens there. Just accumulate more through the stake and let that run, and hopefully the bull market is gentle to it when it eventually happens.
Yeah.
Is there a lockup period for it?
Not a lockup period, but there's a 7-day cooldown, I believe it was. So yeah, I think there's like a 7-day withdrawal time or something like that. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that one does. Obviously, the community was very miserable those first couple of days there where they extended things, but I mean, whatever. It's the world of crypto. It's the wild, wild west, right? I mean, DeFi is not known as a safe haven, so.
Yeah, well, MDX was quite heavy, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. He seems happy with it. He was enjoying the staking. I don't know. I'm liking the staking. I just think it's fun to see more free coins in my wallet, so that's neat. And hopefully someday at 100x's or 1000x's, and if not, well, that's kind of to be expected with a coin with a market cap around $1 million. You don't always win on those ones, but hopefully it wins big.
Yeah. From what you were talking about earlier, you guys was, with the, I mean, I'm seeing a rise through the end of the year from now, I think, with generally, but like you were saying, all these fit coins, as it were, a lot are gonna die out, because it seems like every charity has a coin, every single cause has a coin, every pet has a coin. So I think all of this stuff's got to get wiped out and a fresh start, and only the strong will survive. So I think there's going to be a massive flush out, just like with the .coms. I definitely see that coming. So it's a matter of picking some of the right ones, because I'm building a tiny folio now, and I have been DCAing into it, but I just worry that will those KDAs and GMTs be still there in a year's time, which I doubt. So they're a very small part of it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Like you said, there is coins popping up all over the place. Funny that you said that, because the other day my girlfriend actually mentioned, like, hey Stu, like, check out whatever, she was earning all these sweat coins over the last year or whatever. I think it was called sweat coins, and it's one of those move to earn things, like you get these tokens by walking or whatever. Like
GMT,
yeah, all of a sudden those things, like, she was just walking, she's like, oh, what are these worth? Oh, there's like a few $100s worth there just from walking around the last few months. Like, it's funny. It was just it was one of those moments, like, man, coins are popping up everywhere. Like, every company is getting onto the crypto bandwagon somehow, it seems like.
This is something I learned. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is a principle I learned. There's a certain cheat sheet before you invest in coins, right? And actually, I learned this from a multi-millionaire, actually. Before you invest in a coin, look at the circulating supply and the max supply. If the circulating supply is less than 50% of the max supply, then sometimes it's better worth waiting till when the circulating supply is at least 50% of the max supply. Because what will happen is that, say the circulating supply is like 30% of the max supply, as more and more of those coins get pumped out, the price will get dumped. So sometimes it's, an example is Algorand, right? So I'm bullish on Algorand, but I never jumped in. And at the time I saw the circulating supply, it was like 30%. I never wait, because I knew there was going to be a huge dump. There was a huge shit dump since from then on till now. So that's the thing. It's also looking at circulating supply and max supply as well, because it represents the stake in which the owners have, and they can dump on you at any time, really.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, now that you mentioned that, something worth mentioning, in my opinion, is that if you get into some of those early coins, especially when you're hitting up the DeFi space, and you notice that, yes, just like you just said, there's a lot more max supply than circulating supply. see if you can find in their white papers like the dates when they release more coins to their angel investors or anything like that, and that's a good way to keep tabs on, you know what, I should probably take some profits if I have any, because a whole bunch more people are going to have access to a whole bunch more coins right away. Like, let's say, oh, tomorrow, you know what, all of a sudden 25% of the token supply is being released tomorrow. Well, you know what, that's not going to be more people buying. It's going to be that even if most people are bullish on it and they want to hodl it, there's still going to be some people looking to take that profit, right? So there's going to be some people who, there is going to be selling pressure building on those days where they release tokens. So if you're able to look up those dates, that's just something to keep in mind, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, I'm getting pretty hungry. I don't know how you guys are all feeling. Do you guys have any questions, or anyone else want to mention anything?
All good. We've got Asia open in a couple of minutes. I'm just waiting to see what happens.
Oh, so we got to get into the charts here and get back on the chat then with everyone.
3 minutes. Yeah, Hong Kong's open, I guess. I think they're open today. It's a holiday here in Shanghai this week, but so China's not open, but Hong Kong is, I think, today.
Okay, we actually have our Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend too, so I'm probably going to go out to my parents' cabin. I don't think I'll be around this weekend to do a video, or a stream, rather. Just a heads up, but yeah, I'll keep you guys in the loop. I still want to try and do 1 or 2 of these a week, because I just have a great time talking crypto with other people who like crypto, so...
Yeah, it's great, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I love that you guys are interested in getting on here and giving your 2 cents, because obviously it's great to have a team of traders and just see things from different point of views, because it's very easy to get wrapped up in your own emotions and your own theories, so it's good to have that. I've been really happy lately. I know I saw a couple people mentioning in the group chat like, oh, it's been a great community and that kind of thing, and I couldn't agree more. I've just had a great time in this group ever since joining. It's been a lot of fun. It's nice having a group of people. It seems very active and very knowledgeable people and stuff. So I'm pumped to be a part of this.
Yeah, it's good to. There's good info in the Bitcoin channel, because you'll come in and give us some real hopium, and there's and then Stockpoker will post one of his evil crap charts and it'll drop to 17 and a half, and it just puts some perspective on everything. So there's really good, I think there's a good it's a good mix of info in the group. Actually, I'm more there for the chat than the indicators, although they do help me a lot, but the actual group is brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I have some friends who talk crypto, but not enough. And I like that.
Exactly, yeah.
The group is always just very active and stuff. I've been having a great time in there. So, it's awesome. I'm loving it. So, cool. I guess until the next time, we'll just,
it's trade restrictive. I know you probably have to go, but I can do any altcoin requests if anyone wants. It's time if anyone else wants, but I understand you need to go trade restrictive.
I need to head off as well, because I need to make daughter breakfast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Oh, geez, it's early for you. It's 6:30 p.m. for me.
8:30 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
Hey guys, thank you very much, and take care. Have a good day. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and like I said, I'm gonna upload this to my StuTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Much appreciated. Same with my Twitter. But that should be uploaded. My upload speed seems horrible. I don't know. It's taking like a couple hours to upload these streams. I guess they are long and whatnot. But it'll be up there eventually if anyone wants to look back. If you want to look back at some of our examples, or anyone who missed the start or anything like that, it'll be up there in a few hours. And with that, thanks everyone for contributing and tuning in and everything. And with that, stay safe, my friends.
Thanks, Kieran.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, fellas. Later.